Right now at 6, national controversy. NFL players choosing to kneel or stay in the locker room during the national anthem. This comes in the wake of President Trump's remarks causing a firestorm of controversy in the sports world. Many of the Jaguars chose to link arms during the national anthem instead. The president took to social media saying standing with locked arms was good, but kneeling is not acceptable. He also tweeted today, "Courageous patriots have fought and died for our great American flag. We must honor and respect it," adding, "Make America great again." The Jaguars versus Ravens in London was the first game of the day. Before kickoff, all players and coaches locked arms, and some even took a knee. Channel 4's Scott Johnson has been talking to fans about their thoughts on the national anthem controversy, but we begin with sports director Sam Kouvaris live in London. And Sam, what are players there saying?
Yeah, you're right. You know, Ethan, the Wembley Stadium is lit in Jaguar teal, resplendent in Jaguar teal after the big win today, as that is the sports story of the day. But as you mentioned, the national story of the day is that the Jaguars were the first game with the Ravens, and about a half dozen Ravens players and about a dozen Jaguar players knelt today. In addition to that, the rest of the players and the coaches, including owner Shad Khan, locked arms on the sidelines in solidarity with the players who say that they perceive that there is an amount of social injustice and social inequality in America. When I talked to the players afterwards, they tried to explain their position and said that, in fact, in one case, in Telvin Smith's case, he said, "I didn't kneel because I was on foreign soil. If this game was at home, I would have knelt at that point."
You know, the one thing that we wanted to make sure that, you know, we supported each other. We went out there as a team.
You know, obviously, we're not happy about what's going on, but at the same time, whatever it is, the message that we want to send, we're going to do it together.
We didn't tell anybody what they had to do, but we said we would all lock arms just to show that we support the guys who are kneeling, the guys who are standing. You know what I mean? This is one team, and that's what we just wanted to come out and show, that we were unified.
In his tweet during the game, Shad Khan was interviewed and did say that he wanted to show support for the players and that he thought it was fine that they were kneeling. A lot of you and a lot of people felt like if you want to protest, it's on American soil and certainly not on foreign soil. I asked many of the players about that. Telvin Smith said that he was reluctant to kneel on foreign soil, but that he was in solidarity with the players who did that today. It'll be interesting to see as this goes around. The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't come out of the locker room, and there is no NFL rule that you have to be on the field during the national anthem. As a point of context, remember as well, President Donald Trump, as a civilian, was turned down at least twice to become an NFL owner. Whether that plays into it or not still is in question. For now, we're live with the Jaguars, where they won 44-7. We'll have highlights of that and talk about the game coming up in sports in about 15 minutes. Ethan?
Sam, thank you. Here at home, fans woke up early to watch today's game. Channel 4's Scott Johnson spoke with fans this morning about their thoughts on the controversy.
You would think the Jags playing a continent away would not really be at the center of what is an American debate on the anthem. Other teams might do that playing in the States today. However, being that the Jags-Ravens were the first game to be played in front of fans, when they took a knee, a lot of players did, that was the focus throughout the NFL day. Prior to kickoff, when the American anthem was played, all Ravens and Jaguars, even Shad Khan, interlocked arms. And numerous players, including Leonard Fournette and Dante Fowler, took a knee. When I stopped by the Mudville Grill in St. Nicholas, many fans weren't too happy with that.
I don't entertain that thought. I mean, it's just not right.
You think they should stand during the anthem?
I do. It's just representing America. If you're a patriot, you should be that guy.
I don't agree with that. We need to stand up when we play the national anthem.
I'm not agree on that. That was not good for our country.
This controversy started simmering more than a year ago when Colin Kaepernick was the first to do it, but it exploded Friday when President Trump said players who don't stand for the anthem should be fired. This started as a backlash in the sports world as the social media hashtag #TakeAKnee took off. And fans like Bobby Burton are frustrated that politics has entered their favorite game.
I'm unhappy with both sides doing disgracing our freedom like that. There's no place for it in football.
This is part of the statement Shad Khan released. "We have a lot of work to do, and we can do it. But the comments by the president make it harder. That's why it was important for us, and personally for me, to show the world that even if we may differ at times, we can and should be united in the effort to become better as people and a nation. One thing that's interesting is we noticed that while the Jaguars, many of them, took a knee during the American anthem, everyone was standing when the British anthem, God Save the Queen, was played. In St. Nicholas, Scott Johnson, Channel 4, the local station.
Well, many have taken to social media in support of the players' decision to kneel. Tom Berkery says, quote, "I'm a veteran, never fought for a flag or an anthem. I swore to protect the Constitution. Exercise your rights, hashtag take the knee." And one tweet going viral is from Brennan Gilmore, who wrote, quote, "My grandpa is a 97-year-old World War II vet and Missouri farmer who wanted to join with those who hashtag take a knee." He finished, "Those kids have every right to protest." We will continue to follow this story and keep you updated both on air and on news4jax.com.